Hey guys, John V here from PhoneArena. You're watching our in-depth video review of the Google Nexus 7 tablet. It's finally here. It's available right now. You can pick it up for $200 for the base 8GB model. They also have a 16GB one if you need that one. And what's special about this, guy, is that it is the only tablet to feature Android 4.1 Jelly Bean, the most up-to-date Android experience out there. Some new features that make it pretty slick. At the same time, it's sporting a really great price point at $200. It's a good amount of hardware too. You get a gorgeous 7-inch WXGA IPS panel, and on top of that you have a quad-core NVIDIA Tegra 3 processor, so it's no slouch in the hardware department, and this might seemingly be the best Android tablet thus far. Aside from the fantastic price point, we've got to give some credit to ASUS just because they did a phenomenal job in manufacturing the tablet and also the design, just because typically when you think of a $200 tablet you're expecting something cheap or wonky with construction, but not with this guy here. It's pretty solid and top-notch, even though it doesn't utilize some premium choice materials or the fact that its overall design is a little bit on the conventional side, but we definitely like the styling, and with the constraints they had to deal with, it's definitely respectable. We like that there's enough room around the bezels to accommodate our fingers, both in portrait and landscape. It's rounded, so it's very comfortable to hold with one hand or two hands. And the back casing has this tough rubbery shell, which gives it a very clean appearance at all times. At the same time, a good grip too. Super skinny, just as thin as the iPhone 4S, and also extremely lightweight, so it has a good blend of everything to make a really nice 7-inch tablet. Looking around the surface of the display, the only thing that we find on there is just the front-facing camera, which is strictly going to be used for certain apps that take advantage of it. Just like Google Talk, if you're going to do a video chat, or Skype, it's worth noting there is no camera app with the tablet. On the bottom edge of the tablet, we have the micro USB port for charging and data connectivity only, and next to that you have the 3.5mm headset jack, though we kind of wish it was placed at the top edge just because when you rest it on a flat surface, it does get in the way. On the bottom left corner of the tablet, we have the dock connection pins right there, and we also have one of the microphones, while the second microphone is found positioned in the top left corner of the tablet. With the dedicated power button and the volume controls, we like it that they're very responsive when you press them down, but their position and angle kind of makes it difficult to feel them out at first. And finally, the only thing we find in the rear is just this slit towards the bottom. That's for the internal speaker. It's worth noting that there is no micro SD card slot with the tablet, so there's no expandability with memory. And on top of that, as we mentioned already, there is no rear camera as well. Also, a standout on the Google Nexus 7 tablet is its 7-inch WXGA IPS LCD panel. So that's 800 by 1280 pixels. That's typically what you find with most 10-inch tablets and some 7-inch tablets. And of course, it produces some nice details, fine text, easily legible in both the app drawer here, and even when we go to the web browser, view something in a full zoomed out view, we're able to view the entire thing with no problems. And seeing that it is an IPS panel, it has some natural looking color reproduction, some good viewing angles, good contrast, though in cloudy situations we're able to see it, but in direct sunlight we're still finding ourselves kind of shielding it away from the sun. But either way, it's a sharp looking display and definitely highlights the quality of the tablet. Without a doubt, the single greatest feature about the Google Nexus 7 tablet is the experience, obviously. It has Android 4.1 Jelly Bean, the most up-to-date experience out there. Now, if you've used an ice cream sandwich device, or even to an extent a honeycomb one, the presentation of Jelly Bean doesn't really drastically differentiate itself from them. It's going to be quite familiar, and you can tell that with the rich set of widgets it has to offer. It's pretty much the same ones that we find with previous versions of Android. With the Android buttons incorporated into the home screen, to the interface itself, so nothing really different there. And the same thing applies with the app panel, nothing different about it whatsoever. It's the same exact one that we see already with ice cream sandwich, but utilizes some gestures, more gestures. Again, you have the notifications tray right up top, and if you do swipe from the bottom bezel up, you could gain access to the Google Now function. And with the lock screen, it has a new animation. You can unlock it or again run the Google Now function of the platform. Now, for the most part, it is cleaner, more refined when it comes to its looks with the interface. And you can tell with the main home screen here, it kind of centers around the core aspects of Google Play for movies, videos, TV shows, content like that. Just like we see with the Amazon Kindle Fire, kind of following that route. It's nice that it's cleaner, but there are a lot more cool features about Jelly Bean that we'll go through right now. So first we're going to talk about its Project Butter. Now, with Android 4.1 Jelly Bean, it pretty much eliminates any of the lag or choppiness that we've seen with the experience on previous versions of Android. No longer do we see any choppiness. It's now pretty much buttery smooth. Even with the graphically intensive live wallpaper running, we're able to move about the home screen with a good rate of movement. And other basic tasks, opening up applications, pinch zooming, stuff like that, it is instantaneous. It also helps that it's packing a 1.3 GHz NVIDIA Tegra 3 quad-core processor with 1 GB of RAM. The benchmark results or scores might not be the best, but honestly, it doesn't really matter that much just because the real-world performance really showcases the beauty about the tablet, and overall it does provide for a gratifying experience. Google actually updated the notifications tray with Jelly Bean, so now when you do swipe down, the cool thing about it is that you have more functionality within the notifications tray. So on top of just being able to swipe left or right to remove certain notifications, it also utilizes some gestures. If you do pinch gestures on certain ones like an email, you could actually read the content. You could also collapse it if you want. And you also have some functions available to you, like if you take a picture or a screenshot, you'll have the ability to share. So it's really nice that you have all this functionality directly from the notifications tray. If you ever wanted a personal digital assistant with Android, you finally have it here with Android 4.1 in the form of Google Now. Now to access it, you just simply do swipe up at any time from the bottom bezel and you can launch the function itself. Now what it is, it kind of reminds us of what the core aspects of what WebOS's Synergy was supposed to be like. Specifically what Google Now does, it utilizes the data from your Google searches, your location, and compiles certain suggestions. For example, right now it knows where we're at, so it gives us the detailed weather information right there, and even the option to check into a local spot because it knows where we like to go a lot. And over time, it kind of becomes automated and provides for some additional detailed information. For example, it'll know where you work, it'll know where you live, and as we said, it's going to be automated down the road, so the more you use it, the more it knows, and it gives you various suggestions. It'll even give you sports information, time to get back home, flight information, and even traffic from your commute. So it's pretty nice that it does that, and it's pretty automatic as well. Also, we like it that Google has updated the Google search function with Android 4.1 Jelly Bean. It's a lot more intelligent, and it's almost on the same line as what we find with Apple Siri. I'll quickly demo that here for you. What's the capital of New York?
The capital of New York is Albany.
What's 57 divided by 7?
The answer is 8.14.
Get me a list of pizza places. So there you go. You could tell it's very accurate, and on top of that, we definitely like the voice. It sounds more natural than Siri. One of the things that really captures our attention with the Android 4.1 Jelly Bean experience on the Google Nexus 7 is that it doesn't have support for landscape with the home screen. It's kind of strange, just because some people would like that flexibility, but nope, there is no support for it. Of course, certain applications it will work in landscape, but it would have been just nice to have that with the home screen as well. As for the core organizer apps with the tablet, nothing really different from previous versions of Android. It remains the same. So whether you're using the calculator, the calendar, clock, stuff like that, nothing really different about it. Same old thing. Of course, some of them are optimized for the for being a tablet, so you get that two-panel view with some stuff. But it would have been nice just to see an upgrade in those specific areas. However, you really get a feel that Google's trying to center the experience around its Google Play content for videos, music, television shows, and magazines, and it's really refined, to tell you the truth. For example, if you run the Play Magazines app, it's typically your standard e-reader, magazine reader actually, but you could, of course, go through different pages. You could do pinch zooming. Of course, it makes it kind of difficult to read because you're constantly zooming, and you can tell thanks to the processor, it makes for a quick rendering experience as well. But if you want, there's this other mode here. Quickly show you a text mode, so you can view text, and so it makes it a lot easier to actually read text as opposed to actually doing it in a standard mode. Considering that it's packing the quad-core NVIDIA Tegra 3 processor, the Google Nexus 7 tablet is fantastic for games, even for graphically intensive titles like Dead Trigger right here. It barely shows any issues in terms of performance. Every now and then you might see some lag or slowdown, but it's never to the point, debilitating, and it maintains a good rate of performance. And honestly, if you love gaming, this is definitely a device that's going to be more than equipped for that. When it comes to surfing the web, you get the Chrome browser on the Google Nexus 7 tablet. It's a phenomenal web browser just because it utilizes a bunch of different functions to really aid in the experience. Thanks to Project Butter, of course, it maintains that nice buttery smooth operation with pinch zooming and kinetic scrolling. Barely any evidence of lag. It also utilizes some gesture-based movements between the side bezels, so you can move about between the open tabs. And on top of that, let's say something's really small, kind of difficult to touch or press. When you do so, the browser knows what you're trying to press, so you can actually select it. It gives you that zoomed view, so it's really nice, and overall, it's a great experience. There's actually nothing different about the music player found with Jelly Bean. It's the same exact one that we've seen on previous versions of Android. Specifically, if you tilt it to landscape, you get that cool 3D-like carousel effect when you're browsing through your album, so it's pretty nice. But when you're playing a song, there's nothing different about it too. You have all the usual stuff, the album cover, the information, the on-screen controls. You even have equalizer settings to better enhance the audio quality with the different settings there. As far as the audio quality with the actual speaker, it's actually really good. Strong, powerful, doesn't crackle, nice neutral tones, and it's never overbearing. Not surprisingly, the Google Nexus 7 tablet handles high-definition playback with no issues at all. The one we have here is encoded in MPEG-4 1920 by 1080 resolution. A lot of detail, and thanks to its IPS display, the colors are nice and poppy, and overall it definitely stands out. However, it's worth noting that there is no support for DivX or Xvid out of the box, so it's a little bit strange in that aspect. If we look at the keyboard, it's not that much of a big change over previous versions like the Ice Cream Sandwich keyboard. Actually, it looks just the same. Nice spacious layout, responsive, so we're pretty much typing away with relative ease. Very few issues at all. It would have been nice to see some numbers incorporated to the main row and top, but you still have some punctuations on hand. We actually prefer using the portrait keyboard just because our thumbs are able to actually encompass the layout a lot easier than, let's say, the landscape, where we're finding ourselves having to extend our fingers to press specific buttons. It's really nice that we find that the core organizer apps have been optimized for tablet, but we especially see a big focus on that on other apps such as Google+, which really makes good use out of the tablet real estate here. You can tell in portrait, it has a nice refined layout, very smooth, and it just has a really nice appeal to it. Same thing applies to other things, such as the new YouTube application. It utilizes the same design approach with its layout, very nice and boxy. And again, thanks to Project Butter, it enables for a really nice smooth transition. Overall, it's definitely nice to see those type of elements in play with the platform. On the flip side, however, one of the biggest things that we find to be an issue with the Android 4.1 experience is the fact that most of the third-party apps haven't been optimized for tablets, specifically for things like the popular ones out there, Facebook, Twitter. It's the same exact experience that you get on a phone. On the opposite side, though, we already showed you what Google Plus and YouTube looks like, but for even third-party apps like Flipboard, it might look like that it has it's been updated for tablet, but actually it's the same experience that we get on a smartphone. Nothing really different about it. It's nice, cool looking, but it'd been just nice to see more third-party apps to make good use of the tablet experience. With its 4325 milliamp hour battery, we have to say we're very impressed with the battery life out of the Nexus 7 tablet. It could be also attributed to Android 4.1 Jelly Bean, just because it's power efficient. Same thing applies with the processor. When you combine those elements, it seems like it provides for a lot of longevity. In fact, a full charge, even on the heaviest of usage, we got easily a day's use out of it, so more than adequate. If you're light, you could probably get close to 2 days without having to recharge it. Furthermore, we didn't have any issues in terms of Wi-Fi connectivity. Its built-in Wi-Fi seems to have a really nice solid signal strength with a hotspot a little bit more than 30 feet away in another room. It's able to maintain a really nice connection, and we didn't see much fluctuation, nor did it drop its connection at any time. The competition needs to beware just because the Google Nexus 7 tablet isn't messing around. It redefines what it means to be a budget tablet out there in the market. First and foremost, you have to talk about pricing because that's really the standout hit about this guy here. $200, you're getting a device that's stacked to the roof with some great hardware. It's no slouch. You get that NVIDIA Tegra 3 quad-core processor, a nice gorgeous 7-inch display, and it's all packaged in this nice slim body. On top of that, the bigger thing here is just the experience. Android 4.1 Jelly Bean, seeing that it is branded as a Nexus device, you know it's going to get the latest and greatest in terms of updates a lot faster than most of its rivals out there. And on top of that, you have all the neat features with it. The updated notifications tray, you have the Google Now functionality, which is pretty nice, just because it'll compile your data and give you suggestions based on it. And on top of that, you know, it just has just a lot of value for what you're getting. So if you're in the market, you really want to take a look at this. Though there are still some elements that we wish we were seeing. For example, a rear camera would have been nice, and also memory expandability, but you can't win them all. And for $200, it still has a lot to offer. But it's going to be interesting to see what the competition brings down the road. But for the meantime, this is the tablet to check out. So if you want to learn more about the Google Nexus 7 tablet, you can check out our website, guys, PhoneArena.com. This is John V. Thanks for watching.